Welcome to Biography Central. You are listening to Life of Sri Ramakrishna, a complete biography. Chapter 48, Kali and Subodh. Kali Prasad Chandra first came to see Sri Ramakrishna about the end of the year 1883. His father was a teacher in a Calcutta school. Kali was of a religious nature even in early boyhood and used to read the Bhagavad Gita and other sacred books. At the proper age, he was sent to school, where Baburam was his classmate. At school, he excelled in drawing. One day, his teacher praised his skill and prophesied a bright future for him. "But sir," said the boy, "I don't wish to excel in this art." "Why not?" asked the teacher. He said in reply, "The painter paints only the surface of things, but the philosopher goes beyond the surface to the cause of things. I will be a philosopher and not a painter." To quench his thirst for the knowledge of the Hindu sastras, Kali studied day and night. Nothing attracted him so much as the study of yoga. One day, he read that no one could be yogi without a guru. This made him eager to find a true spiritual teacher. A classmate with whom he discussed the matter told him of Sri Ramakrishna, whom he called a Paramahamsa, or perfected sage. Sometime after, Kali resolved to go to see Sri Ramakrishna. He started for Dakshineshwar, but not knowing the way, went astray, and it was noon when, tired and hungry, he reached his destination. His disappointment knew no bounds when he found that Sri Ramakrishna had gone to Calcutta. He sat down, not knowing what to do. He had no money for food or to return to Calcutta. Fortunately, a boy of his age accosted him and asked him what he wanted. It was Shashi. Kali told his story and expressed his desire to return to Calcutta. Shashi urged him to stay and made him comfortable. The two boys spent the afternoon and evening together. At night, Shashi informed Kali that the master had returned. Kali waited eagerly. In a few minutes, he heard footsteps at the door and the name of the goddess Kali uttered feelingly thrice. He was profoundly impressed. Sri Ramakrishna entered the room. When the master heard that Kali was there, he asked to see him. Kali entered the room, trembling with awe. To his great surprise, he saw, instead of an ascetic with matted locks and emaciated form, a plain man of middle age with a smiling countenance. Sri Ramakrishna asked him a few questions and told him that he would see him the next morning. Kali spent the night in the veranda and called on the master in the morning. The master talked with him for a while and asked him in passing if he had married. Kali replied in the negative, but said that his parents were urging him to do so. The master next took him to the northern veranda and made him sit on a wooden bedstead. He then touched the boy, who immediately felt that some power had been transmitted to him. Then he was told to go to the Kali temple and meditate for a while, Sri Ramakrishna directing him what to do. When Kali took his leave, the master affectionately asked him to come again. Sri Ramakrishna said many things about Kali. One day, he remarked that his eyebrows reminded him of Sri Krishna's. On another occasion, he said that the boy had something of the personality of Krishna. When Kali told him of his great interest in yoga philosophy, he said, "You were a yogi in your past life. That is why you were inclined to yoga so young." From the very beginning, Kali attracted the notice of the master by his neatness and orderliness. The master always praised his methodical habits. Kali began to practice religious discipline under the guidance of Sri Ramakrishna, and through his grace was blessed with many wonderful visions. One day, in a vision he saw Sri Ramakrishna in company with other past incarnations of the Lord. These divine personages entered one by one into Sri Ramakrishna's body and came out again. This convinced Kali that Sri Ramakrishna was the embodiment of all previous incarnations. Kali possessed a mind which responded easily to any religious stimulus. He always saw visions of gods and goddesses during meditation. One day, he saw them all merging in the body of one luminous being. He narrated this experience to Sri Ramakrishna, who said, "Ah, you have seen the Vaikuntha. Henceforth you will no longer have these visions. You have risen above that stage." This proved to be true. Thereafter, Kali, in his meditations, would be occupied with the ideas of infinity and vastness, etc., associated with the impersonal Brahman, instead of the familiar forms of deities. Kali belonged to the inner circle of Sri Ramakrishna's young devotees. He visited the master every now and then, and sometimes passed a day or two with him. He was an expert angler and often fished in the temple garden ponds. One day, he caught 3 or 4 fish. The master, learning of it, asked him why he was so cruel. Kali replied promptly, "Why, sir, I have done nothing wrong. We are all Atman, and the Atman is immortal. Therefore, I have not really killed a fish." "My dear boy," said the master, "you are mistaken. A man of realization can never be cruel to others. It is against his very nature. Such a man cannot make a false step. His mind never thinks in a wrong way. Reflect upon this." Kali left the place silently. He pondered over the words for 3 days and at last realized their truth. Subodh was a high school boy of 17 belonging to the family of Shankar Ghosh, the founder of the Kali temple at Tantaniya, Calcutta. He, however, cared more for spiritual things than academical ones. One day, his father gave him the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna. Subodh was so deeply impressed by it that a great desire arose in his mind to meet the master. When he told his father of this desire, he was promised a trip to Dakshineshwar later with the rest of the family. But Subodh would not wait. In a few days, with a friend, Kshirodh, he started for Dakshineshwar. This was sometime in 1885. Subodh had an idea that a Paramahansa was some sort of magician. He had never before spoken to a sadhu. So he said to his friend, "You must go forward and talk with the holy man. I don't know the proper etiquette." The friend agreed. They entered the master's room and saluted him with folded hands. "Where do you come from?" asked Sri Ramakrishna. "From Calcutta," was the reply. Pointing to Subodh, he said, "Why is he standing so far off? Come nearer." Thus encouraged, Subodh went closer. "Do you not belong to the family of Shankar Ghosh?" asked Sri Ramakrishna. Subodh was surprised and said, "Yes, sir, but how did you know of it?" "When I was staying at Jamapukar," said Sri Ramakrishna, "I often visited your home, as well as your Kali temple at Tantaniya. That was before your birth. I knew you would come. Well, Mother sends here those who will attain spirituality. Why do you stand so far off? Come closer." Subodh approached the master, who grasped his hand and closed his eyes for a few minutes. At last, he said, "You will attain the goal. Mother says so." The master asked for a mat for Subodh and his friend, and then asked them how they had come to Dakshineshwar. Subodh, who because of the master's kindness had lost his shyness, said, "Why, on foot." "Indeed," exclaimed the master, "but how did you know about me?" "I like your saying so much," said Subodh. "You are such a great man, and so famous. Therefore, we have come to see you." These words brought a sudden change in the master's expression. With a humility that amazed the boys, he said, "Ah, I am worse than a worm. Name and fame, ridiculous. Really, I am more insignificant than a worm." After a little while, he said to Subodh, "Mother sends here those who will receive her grace. Come here on Tuesdays or Saturdays. Many people from your part of town come here those days. Come with them." Subodh said, "No, sir, that will not do, for my relatives will find out that I am coming here. Please tell me what you have got to say now." "I cannot recall my words, my child," said the master. "If I say I shall go to a certain place on such and such a day, I must do so at any cost. Even if I don't like it, Mother drags me there. I have said those words, so do come on Tuesdays or Saturdays." Subodh agreed, and finding it was getting late, asked leave to go home. Sri Ramakrishna treated the boys to some sweets and affectionately pressed them to accept carriage or boat hire. But they declined and returned to Calcutta on foot. On the following Saturday, Subodh stole away from school and with his friend hurried to Dakshineshwar. The master's room was crowded with visitors. Peeping through the door, the boys saluted Sri Ramakrishna, who when he caught sight of them raised his hand as a signal for them to stay outside. The master asked the audience to wait and went out to greet them. It was about 3 p.m. Sri Ramakrishna asked Rakal to bring some Ganges water, with which he washed his hands. He then squatted on the staircase leading to the Shiva temples to the south of his room and bade the boys sit down also. He asked Kshirodh to show his tongue. On it he wrote something with his finger and stroked his body from the navel to the throat. He did the same to Subodh saying, "Awake, mother, awake." Then he told both to meditate. The magic touch awakened Subodh's latent spirituality. No sooner had he commenced to meditate than his whole body trembled, and he felt a current rushing along the spinal column to his brain. An ineffable joy overwhelmed him, and he saw a strange light within him in which the forms of numerous gods and goddesses flashed. The meditation deepened, and the boy lost all sense of personal identity. When he regained consciousness, he found a master stroking his body in the reverse order from the head downwards. "Well," said he, "have you practiced meditation at home?" "Very little, sir," replied the boy. "I used to think a little of gods and goddesses as I heard of them from my mother." "Ah," said the master, "that's why you could concentrate so easily." Then he asked Subodh if he had seen or felt anything. The boy replying in the negative, he said, "All right, you will do so later on." Sri Ramakrishna then told them to go to the Panchavati and meditate while he returned to his room. When they went to take leave of him, they were given some sweets and also pressed to take carriage hire, which was declined. Sri Ramakrishna said to Subodh, "There's a teacher who lives near you named Mahendra. He often comes here and is a good man. Go to see him now and then and come here also." Subodh made no reply, as he was not certain if he would be able to do so. After meeting Sri Ramakrishna, Subodh often saw a light between his eyebrows. When he told his mother, she said, "You are fortunate, but don't divulge it to others. You'll be a loser if you do so." "What harm can it do to me, mother?" said the boy. "I do not want this light, but that from which it comes." Subodh lost all relish for study. He liked to be with Sri Ramakrishna always and to spend the time in meditation, prayer, or repeating the name of God. At a hint from a master, Mahendra often invited Subodh to see him. But the boy did not go, thinking it idle to expect spiritual instruction from householder. The next time he went to Dakshineshwar, the master introduced him to Shashi and Sharat and also told him to go to see Narain. Asked why he did not call on Mahendra, Subodh said, "Sir, he lives with his wife and children. What have I to do with him?" Sri Ramakrishna laughed at these words so indicative of renunciation and said, "He will talk only of me. Don't hesitate to go to him." Subodh agreed. A few days later he went to Mahendra and was cordially received. When asked his reason for not coming before, Subodh said frankly, "I did not like to come because you are a householder. But the master has told me that you will speak to me of him only. Therefore I have come." "It's quite true," said Mahendra. "I am an insignificant person, but I live by the side of an ocean, and I keep with me a few pitchers of seawater. When a visitor comes, I entertain him with that. What else can I speak of but his words?" After some pleasant hours, the boy took his leave. Thus did Sri Ramakrishna seal the bond of friendship and love among his disciples. I hope you like this chapter. We need volunteers and sponsors to create content with even better quality and with more variety. If you wish to join this initiative as a volunteer or sponsor, please click the links given in description below. To help us reach more viewers, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Biography Central. Thank you for your time. It means a lot. Namaste.